So it's Friday, July the 26th, 2024. Today is my day off. I decided to make these two short videos based upon these social media uh, information that I came across. This video consists of by Jagdeo. This is a question and answer segment of his over 3-hour long press conference that was held yesterday. I can't remember when last a politician in Guyana held a press conference for over 3 hours. I want to know, I might even suggest maybe that press conference was probably a record by the Vice President and General Secretary of the PPP yesterday afternoon. He would normally hold a press conference around 2 hours. And I don't know what went on yesterday. Anyhow, between 2 hours 14 and I think it's between 2 hours 18, during the question and segment, during the question and answer segment, the Vice President could be heard telling the Guyanese critic, I made some notes, mind you, how your United States visa was denied. But you're going to see that portion of the video. I have it right here when I'm finished, and I'm going to be posting it. In this video, despite the critics' efforts to suggest, to my mind, a conspiracy against the United States through EXxonMobil via the AFC, especially Exxon's link to the AFC via its leader. He was posing this conspiracy question to Jagdeo, but I must say that to give Jagdeo credit, he was not buying into it. In fact, the VP lauded the relationship between the two countries. He says, fine diplomatic relationships. They have United States companies going to Guyana, doing business. But, like in everything else in life, you must have disagreements. And from time to time, the two governments, they don't see eye to eye with certain issues. But by and large, the two governments, they have a fine relationship. And if I could remember the 5-month elections fiasco in Guyana, people were saying that the United States government installed the PPP government. So I was surprised to see him asking Jagdeo whether he feels that the United States is hatching a conspiracy via the AFC. So I have one question to ask, and maybe someone could probably help me. Was it true that the former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who was under Trump, made a phone call to the former President David Granger, issued an ultimatum, issued threats of sanctions? I would like someone to tell me if it's true or false. I always want to know if there had any truth in that. What I know is the truth is that I could remember seeing Aubrey Norton on the Gildari for the Kissoon program. That time, Gildari was with Freddie. And Aubrey Norton said anytime he was leader of the PNC, he would not have mind getting the sanctions. That's what he said. The sanctions would have been no problem. He would have continued being a leader of the government if he was in power. And he would have disregarded sanctions in the United States. So, before I go off, I just want to say I've been having some people asking me about the situation with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, even Donald Trump. Seeing that I'm living here, what are my views? And then I could remember Freddie Kissoon speaking that a lot of Guyanese, they're criticizing this thing with the oil companies. Some of them don't want, some of them want the oil industry to be shut down, especially the lady in Canada, and others put in their signatures to shut down the oil industry in Guyana. And they're living in countries, and you're not hearing their views of those countries that they're living in. So I'm just going to do this particular one here because this is not part of the original part of this video. I watched that debate between Donald Trump and the President Joe Biden. I looked at that whole debate. I turned to my family and I said, these two old guys, yes, I said it, these two old guys, they should be home playing with their grandchildren. These two old guys. I would not be voting. I'm not interested. None of them interests me. However, now that Biden has decided to step aside and Kamala has decided to accept the situation, I am having second thoughts because I am an independent. I'm having second thoughts. Kamala apparently, she's gotten a spike from financial donors. You will read in certain articles that donors were keeping back their money when Biden was hesitating to step aside. You had Hakeem Jeffries and other leaders like Nancy Pelosi trying to urge him to step aside because donors were holding back money. And as I said in the previous video, elections, the campaigning and that kind of stuff, it costs a lot of money. If you don't have the money, you cannot do that amount of campaigning. So I guess I may be having second thoughts. My own daughter had no idea that Kamala's father is from Jamaica and he's black. Some black Americans are confused. They're saying that he's calling himself an Afro-Jamaican. And there's a lot of confusion because some of them are saying that he's too light-skinned to be called black. I thought in America you're either black or you're white. I think they're also saying that she is too, apparently she's too brown, she's not black enough. But in a situation, I may probably go out and vote there, but before I wasn't planning to vote for either Donald Trump or Joe Biden. But now that he stepped aside, I may very well change my mind. I know a lot of Indo-Guyanese are planning to back Donald Trump. That's before this announcement. I'm wondering now, seeing that the sister her mother's from India, if some Indo-Guyanese are going to change their mind and vote for Kamala, because when Rishi Sunak was selected as the Prime Minister of England, you can see something, a lot of East Indians were very happy. They were very happy for Rishi Sunak until his downfall. So I'm wondering now with the sister now, her mother is from India. Of course, the mother and father apparently they're not together. I'm wondering if they're going to turn their backs on the sister who was a mother from Mother India. I would like to hear some comments in this same video about those East Indians who plan on voting for Donald Trump. What do they have to say? Happy Friday afternoon to you guys.
Your administration and the Americans have recently been talking about a good relationship and how things are all hunky-dunky-dory with you guys. While sanctions were brought against 3 individuals in Guyana, totally blindsiding the government, a number of instances that doesn't have any merit but seems accidentally or orchestrated to embarrass the government. The AFC leader, Nigel Hughes, has taken a stand with EXXON to look past cries by the government of duplicitous behavior, and that shouldn't happen. Nigel Hughes representing Exxon, it should be a conflict of interest, but Exxon and Nigel Hughes, who's now the AFC leader, stood against Christ by the government of that. Is the PPP administration considering the way America plays a role in geopolitics across the world, that we might be played into some game here in light of the fact of the importance of Exxon to America?
I support the view that our relations have grown enormously and that we have a really great working relationship with the US government almost at every level. We've had the US unflinching support on the border issue with Venezuela, which is crucial to Guyana. We have had collaboration in the security sectors on fighting transnational crime, particularly drug trafficking. We have had a series of US investors coming to Guyana who have been investing here, unlike in the past when very few US investors were here. We have had a large number of US contractors have come and gotten business here. We collaborate on a lot of international issues, Haiti, a whole range of other regional and international issues. We share some core principles on democracy and the rule of law. We have excellent relations in many other sectors. That doesn't mean that on every matter we'll see eye to eye. However, the United States of America doesn't have to coordinate every policy they have with us to say that they have a great working relationship with us. So the sanction against individuals was done on the basis of investigations that the US did. And they sanctioned certain individuals here. The United States, when you go into the United States of America, you have to satisfy them that you're not a threat to their existence and you can enter. They want additional information. As a tool to provide additional information, they can request your phone. Whatever they find on your phone, it could be, they can use it. We can't seize Guyanese people's phone here. We can't seize their phones in Guyana because our citizens have a different right. We don't seize their phones just like that and say, open up your phone. They do that when you go into their border because they have a different set of laws. So I don't know what info they're privy to. We asked them to share the information. So we wrote saying you've sanctioned these individuals, the Mohammeds saying that X tons of gold were smuggled out of Guyana and that they evaded $50 million in taxes. We want to do our own investigation so we can collect our taxes and prosecute these individuals on the basis of laws in Guyana that they broke. They wrote us back saying, you can't write directly to the head of Treasury because we wrote the secretary to the Treasury there, or you have to write to these agencies. And the Minister of Finance cannot write, it's the Attorney General. The Attorney General has written now. We've asked for information through GRA, and GRA had to write through the prescribed authority. So we're hoping we can get this information. We're hoping in the spirit of the partnership, we can get this information. And this information would allow us to determine the extent of criminality here and allow us to collect taxes evaded if they're evaded. So that's the basis on which we operate. We have to operate on the basis of our laws. And in our laws too, people have rights here, and there should be natural justice, and therefore we have to act in a certain manner. So that we have been playing this by the textbook. But we're doing our independent investigations too. We're looking at independent investigations whilst we're waiting in information. So I don't believe that that is an issue. I think there's a concern about whether some of the lies being told by people like Burke and the others are influencing the decisions made to embarrass PPP people when they go to abroad. There's a concern expressed about that because people, that's in the public domain all the time. But they lie in such a prolific way, some of these social media people, that you don't know if they get information designed to embarrass or it's just fabrication. It's fabrication. So the ambassador said the minister was not questioned and detained. That was what Enrico Wolford reported. So he is facing a lawsuit now from the minister. So I don't want to get into all sorts of speculation about these matters. Now, last week I spoke of what they tell the international community every time they're here. I think Norton let that out of the bag, and I pointed out that one, they say, we're spending all of the money from the Natural Resources Fund without oversight, which is a lie because every cent has to be appropriated by Parliament. Two, they complain to the US about inflation in Guyana. And this is the party that wants to remove subsidy, and they complain to the US that has a higher rate of inflation than we have. They expect the US to tell us how to deal with inflation here. They complain to some of the other donors, not just the US, I'll say that. They complain how we are in bed with the drug traffickers, but they did that before. That was in the 2015 period, that's what they say. 4, we're involved in corruption. 5, we discriminate against Afro-Guyanese, and that there's no equity in the distribution of the assets. And for example, if you tell a US official who comes here about equity in distribution, I pointed this out, I can make a case to any official from any country, including the US, that we distribute our assets as a government more equitably across race and politics than even the United States. So they complain about the obvious. So I don't know if any of that has any bearing on these matters, but we'll investigate that. So we're an open book on these matters. We're an open book on these matters. What we will not allow, though, is because their complaints are the same everywhere. And we will not allow them to go without having a position. And we're not going to be lectured to by anyone who observes observes a worse position in their own country and then come and tell us what to do here. So this is it. If we assess that it's political, then we deal with it differently. But I'm not going to get caught up with this. I notice you asked me 2 questions, and both might be related to you personally. That you got a judgment from the court, and the second one, somebody said your visa is denied. both cases, right? And now, just thinking about it, I realized that you had a great self-interest here on these matters.